Amara was 32, beautiful, elegant, and from a wealthy home. Her father was a respected businessman. Her mother owned a popular fashion brand. From the outside, Amara's life looked perfect: luxury cars, designer clothes, and fame. But behind all that beauty and wealth was a painful secret. Amara had a condition she still bedwet. She had lived with it all her life. Doctors, specialists, herbal remedies, nothing worked. Only her parents and her closest maid knew. At 32, she was still single, not because men didn't want her, but because she was terrified that anyone who found out would leave. One evening, her parents said, "Amara, you're not getting younger. We've found a good man for you. His name is Kelvin." Kelvin was from a wealthy family, too tall, confident, charming. He said all the right words and her parents adored him. Amara told herself, maybe this is the man who will love me despite everything. But she didn't know she was walking into pain disguised as love. A few weeks before their wedding, Kelvin discovered her secret. He walked up to her, anger burning in his eyes. "You mean to tell me you still wet the bed at 32? Are you a child?" Amara froze, tears filling her eyes. She tried to explain that it was a medical condition, but Kelvin didn't care. He didn't break off the wedding, he only stayed because of her parents' wealth. But from that day, his heart turned cold. On the wedding day, in front of everyone, he humiliated her. During the reception, he took the microphone and said jokingly, "I just hope my new wife remembered to pack her night diapers." The hall went silent. People gasped. Amara stood frozen, her world shattered. Her friends looked away. Her mother cried silently. She ran out of the wedding hall in tears, her white gown soaked in shame. That night, she made a silent promise. "Never again will I let anyone make me feel less than human." Months passed. Amara stayed away from people. She didn't eat much. She didn't laugh anymore. But her mother refused to give up. She found a new specialist abroad who claimed he could help. After months of therapy, treatment, and faith, Amara finally stopped bedwetting. The first night she woke up to a dry bed. She cried like a child, tears of relief and freedom. She whispered, "Thank you, God. Maybe I can live again." With time, Amara regained her strength. She started working in her mother's company and met a man named David, gentle, kind, and very attentive. David told her, "I don't care about your past. What matters is your heart." For the first time in years, she believed someone could love her truly. After 1 year of dating, they got married quietly. Amara smiled again, but her joy didn't last. 6 months into their marriage, Amara returned home from a business trip. She opened her bedroom door and froze. There, on her bed, their matrimonial bed, was David, with another woman. Her knees grew weak. She couldn't. When she asked him why, he said coldly, "You think money and pity make you a wife? You're still the broken woman everyone whispers about." That night, Amara packed her bags and left. She didn't cry. She didn't speak. She simply whispered, "Love has failed me twice. I'm done trying." From that day, Amara gave up on love. She focused on herself, her peace, and her work. She didn't hate anyone, she just stopped believing in forever. 2 years later, Amara was 34. She was stronger, calmer, and happy being alone. Her best friend, Sandra, often visited with her younger brother, Daniel, a 32-year-old gentle man with a warm smile. Daniel admired Amara quietly. He loved her strength, her calmness, and her story. One day, he told her, "You've been through too much, but I see a beautiful woman who deserves peace." Those words broke her walls. Slowly, she began to smile again. Their friendship grew into something deeper. Daniel didn't see her as the woman who bedwet. He saw her as Amara, the woman who survived everything and still had a pure heart. But when Sandra found out, she was furious. "My brother? With her? The woman who still bedwet? Never." Amara stood there, speechless, tears in her eyes. Sandra continued, I will not allow my brother to marry a woman like you." Amara turned away slowly and said, "I don't blame you, Sandra. I blame myself for thinking love would ever choose me." Daniel tried to stop her, but Amara walked away quietly, this time not from shame, but from exhaustion. Her heart had loved enough. Now, all it wanted was peace. Days turned into weeks after Amara walked away from Daniel. She tried to forget him, but she couldn't. His words, his kindness, they stayed with her. Daniel didn't give up either. He called, texted, even came to her office, but she refused to see him. One evening, he waited outside her gate in the rain. When she came out and saw him soaked, she said softly, "Daniel, please go home. I can't do this anymore." He looked at her and said, "I don't care about your past, Amara. I love who you are now. I'm not ashamed of you." Tears filled her eyes. For years, she'd wanted someone to say those words and mean them, but fear still held her heart. She whispered, "Love always hurts me. I can't survive another heartbreak." Then she turned, walked back inside, and closed the gate. But Daniel stayed standing in the rain until her light went off. Sandra, Daniel's sister, started noticing changes in her brother. He no longer smiled the same. He barely ate or talked. One night, she entered his room and saw him holding a photo of Amara. Her heart broke. She realized her harsh words had wounded both of them. The next morning, Sandra went to Amara's office. Amara was surprised to see her. Sandra's voice trembled as she said, "I came to say sorry. I was wrong. You're a good woman. My brother truly loves you." Amara just looked at her quietly, then asked, "Do you know what it feels like to be laughed at for something you never chose? To be called a child, a failure, a shame, all because of a condition?" Sandra's eyes filled with tears. "I do now," she whispered, "because I see my brother crying every night for you." Amara looked away. Her heart softened, but the scars were still deep. Months passed. Amara began traveling for work again. She became stronger, more confident, and free. But something inside her still ached, not for love, but for peace. She started therapy, learned self-forgiveness, and stopped blaming herself for her past. For the first time, she said out loud, "I am not my pain. I am not my condition. I am more than what people said about me." That night, she smiled in the mirror, not because someone loved her, but because she finally loved herself. And that's when Daniel reappeared. Not with flowers, not with promises, but with respect. He said, "I know you don't need me, but I still want to walk beside you." Amara just nodded quietly. Maybe, just maybe, love didn't always mean pain. One Saturday morning, Amara was invited to a charity event her company sponsored. When she arrived, she saw Daniel on stage speaking about forgiveness and healing. Then, unexpectedly, he turned toward her. He said into the microphone, "I once met a woman who taught me that love isn't about fixing someone. It's about accepting them completely." Everyone turned to look at Amara. Her heart began to race. Daniel walked down the stage and stood before her. He didn't kneel, he just took her hand and said softly, "I don't want to marry your beauty or your money. I want to marry your soul." Tears filled her eyes. For the first time, she didn't feel fear, only peace. She whispered, "Yes." The crowd cheered, but all Amara heard was the sound of her heart finally healing. Their wedding was small and quiet, only family and close friends. Sandra was the one who helped Amara with her veil. She whispered, "You deserve every good thing that comes to you." As Amara walked down the aisle, she didn't think of the shame, the insults, or the pain. She thought of how far she had come. After the ceremony, Daniel held her hand and said, "You see, Amara, love didn't fail you. People did, but love never left." Amara smiled and replied, "Maybe love waited until I was ready." That night, as they danced under the stars, she finally felt free. No more fear, no more shame, just peace, acceptance, and the love she had always deserved. Months after the quiet wedding, life felt peaceful. For the first time, Amara didn't wake up afraid. No whispers, no scandals, no pressure to prove anything. Just mornings filled with sunlight, laughter, and the smell of fresh coffee shared with Daniel on their terrace. Her life was no longer about perfection, it was about presence. One afternoon, she sat in her office reviewing a proposal. Across the table sat a young woman, nervous, fidgeting with her papers. Amara smiled softly. "You remind me of myself," she said. The girl blushed. "I'm sorry, ma'am. It's just, everyone says you're this powerful woman, but you seem so calm." Amara chuckled. "Power isn't loud. It's just peace. Finally choosing you." The girl looked up, eyes wide. That one sentence would stay with her forever. Soon after, Amara launched a non-profit, the Grace Foundation, named after her late grandmother, who had once told her, "Broken things can still shine." The foundation provided therapy and medical aid for women struggling with hidden conditions, not just bedwetting, but all the silent pains people hide behind smiles. Her story spread not because of pity, but because of hope. Journalists tried to frame her as the woman who overcame humiliation, but Amara corrected them every time. "No," she would say, smiling gently, "I didn't overcome humiliation. I outgrew the people who tried to define me by it." One evening, Amara received a message she never expected from Kelvin, the man who had once destroyed her dignity in front of hundreds. He wrote, "Amara, I know I don't deserve a reply, but I'm sorry. You didn't deserve what I did. You're stronger than I ever was." For a long moment, Amara stared at the message. Her old self might have cried, might have felt anger or satisfaction, but now she only felt peace. She typed one sentence: "I forgave you long before you asked for my own sake." And that night, she slept more deeply than she had in years. 2 years later, Amara stood on the same garden patio where she and Daniel had exchanged vows. Their first child, a little girl with bright eyes and a smile like Amara's mother, toddled across the marble floor, chasing butterflies. Daniel came up behind her, wrapping his arms gently around her waist. "She's got your stubbornness," he said, laughing softly. "And your heart," Amara replied. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Amara looked up at the sky, golden, endless, and forgiving. For the first time, she understood that her story had never been about pain. It was about transformation. It was about finding peace in imperfection. And it was about love, not the kind she'd chased, but the kind she'd become.